Hey everybody, it's Chris, and I'm here with Colby from D4 Deep Dive, and we've been going over the new arcane subclasses from Unearthed Arcana. We're all the way up to Hexblade, so we're just about into the mess of wizards that are in this one. This is the last non-wizard. Hexblade we've seen before. We've seen it officially, and we've
Hmm.
seen it in Unearthed Arcana before, and everyone hated that. So
Too tied to the hex spell,
they
right?
are, yeah, that's right. So they took another pass at it. So we're going to go over it today. But I'm not going to talk about the theme of the Hexblade because you must know what it is by now. And if you don't, me telling you it again isn't going to help you.
If you don't,
Okay.
you didn't watch enough of my build videos from
Yeah.
2020 to 2024.
So at level three, we're going to get three features. We get Hexblade spells, which I'm going to point out with Warlocks moving forward, I assume you always have prepared. So they're not just added to your class spell list. Hexblade's Curse, which has changed again, and Unyielding Will, which is new. So Hexblade spells we get at level 3 Arcane Vigor, Hex, Shield, Wrathful Smite. Level 5 Bestow Curse and Conjure Barrage. Level 7 Freedom of Movement, Staggering Smite. Level 9 Animate Objects and Steel Wind Strike. And if you saw the last Unearthed Arcana version, this is pretty similar. They took away Magic Weapon, and they used to give Dispel Magic. Now they give Bestow Curse instead. But otherwise, it's the same.
Hmm.
Um, your thoughts?
I mean, it's a solid spell list. It has
Yeah.
shield. Um, what else do you need? The
Conjure Barrage.
Yeah, Conjure Barrage
Fantastic
is
spell.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
the smite spells are worth considering, I
The
think,
one thing I'll say
depending.
about the Smite spells and Conjure Barrage is they upcast,
Yeah, yeah.
which, if you're talking about pack slots, is
Hmm.
very important. Shield
Getting
does not upcast, whiting means if you want to take the best advantage of shield, you need to multi-class.
get a multi-class dip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or depending on your campaign, 100 scrolls that you tape to your forehead or something.
Depending on
I
if
guess.
your pack tactics who
Yeah,
who
yeah, you
always
got you
has
got you got
scrolls.
a little zip tie on your sword, and the scroll is hanging off it, and then you get hit, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, animate objects is nerfed, but still situationally decent.
It's still
Steel
an
Wind,
all right spell.
yeah,
Yeah.
Steel Wind Strike, same, I'd say. People people really love Steel Wind Strike. I see comments all the time for some reason on my channel like Steel Wind Strike is amazing, and I'm always like, I mean, like it can be good situationally, but it's not.
I think it's a decent spell,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's like this huge standout at level
yeah,
5.
no,
It's a decent, but I'd say it's solid.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with Steel Wind Strike.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm not sure why people are going nuts over it.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, pretty good spell list. Then we get Hexblade's Curse. Your patron grants you the power to curse and hinder your foes. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. That would be the same as the published version. The target is cursed for 1 minute, during which you gain the following benefits. The curse ends early if you use this feature again, if you dismiss it or die. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. That is new. It used to be once per short rest. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that curses a target, you can use your Hexblade's Curse as part of casting that spell instead of taking a bonus action. So there's our little tie-in with the Hex
Yeah,
spell, right?
yeah.
You
What other
cast, hey, you can do
spells?
it for free if you cast Hex,
Right.
right? I
That's
got
what
it.
I'm. Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, that's a great question. What spells curse targets? You
Right.
get Bestow Curse.
Hmm.
So obviously Bestow Curse. Presumably Hex.
Yes.
I don't know what other spells, and that's
I
a
can't
problem.
think of any off the top of my head,
Maybe
but
none?
you're better. You're more you have a more encyclopedic knowledge of spells than I do. Um,
I mean, do we need to look for the word curse your target?
I that might take too long.
Yeah.
I'm sure
This
there's
is
one or two others out there, but I couldn't easily, like in D&D Beyond anyways, like sort of find a list of spells that cursed your target.
so they need to do something about that. You
Yeah,
can't say when you cast a spell using a spell slot that curses a target without having curse a
helping me
target be
out.
like an actual game mechanic.
Yeah,
So yeah, you definitely need to just give us a list, right?
right.
Is it
But I
hex
think
and bestow curse? That's fine.
right. I think generally speaking, we're talking about hex, right? For most
Yeah,
people, but
yeah,
bestow curse is a little stronger, but you have to touch the enemy.
yeah, and
And
it's an
is it
action to
an
cast.
action? Yeah.
hmm
So stronger
Well,
but
they
worse.
could do that too. They could say when you cast the hex spell,
Right.
you can
Right.
use your hexblade curse
They
as
were
part of that
probably
casting.
so afraid to do that after I bet all the feedback they got
I have
with the
this
last
vision that
iteration.
yeah, after reading the Arcana Cleric and this that we've got designers who are like worried that the community is going to kill them. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
And
for
they're like,
sure.
Are you sure you want to put that in print?
Yeah, right.
You could just
And
leave it the way it was.
and I don't hate like even though I didn't love how tied the Hexblade was in the last UA to the Hex spell, I don't hate that if this feature in particular were tied to the Hex spell, if that's like the only thing that was, right?
Yeah, but though
Um,
I actually like this. I like that you can do it as part of the hex spell or not.
or yeah,
If
sure,
you don't want to, you don't
sure.
have to. You can just
Or
use your
sure,
bonus
like
action and not cast hex.
or keep it with bestow curse or whatever. It just I think you're right. I think we need like
Yeah.
look, if you use it with one of these spells, or you can use it with, and make
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
rider on one of these
That's my
spells.
only concern is it's not clear on what spells curse a target.
Yeah.
And they might mean that it literally says curse a target in the spell description, but then I have to
Mhm.
go through how
And
many
try and
hundred
find
spells
those. Yeah.
looking for that word.
Right.
Um, yeah. So when you do so, the target of your spell is the target of your Hexblade's curse, and your Hexblade's curse duration is either 1 minute or the spell's duration, whichever is longer. So you can use Hex to increase the duration of your Hexblade's curse, or bestow curse, which can even, if you upcast it, be permanent.
But here's my question that I'm a little bit confused by because the target of the spell is the target of your Hexblade's curse. Okay, well, yeah, you know what? I missed this when I was first going over it. So if you're then using a bonus action to transfer Hex to another creature, well, they are now the target of your spell and therefore presumably are also the target of your Hexblade's curse. The benefits transfer when you transfer Hex, yeah?
Uh oh, oh
That's what I don't know. And it seems like
no,
now,
no, I don't think so.
well,
I think the way it works though is if you use your bonus action to Hexblade curse somebody
mhm.
without casting a spell, it lasts for a minute. If I use Hex and Hexblades curse them through Hex, it could last up to an hour, right?
Right, because
Because my
that's how
Hex
long
lasts
Hex
up to an hour. But
lasts.
if I lose my Hex before a minute goes up, it still lasts for a minute,
Sure.
right? That's I don't read the changes targets with the Hex spell.
I mean, probably, well, maybe not, because it says when you cast a spell using the spell slot, you can use your Hexblade
Yeah,
Curse. Part of the casting of that spell, when you do so, the target of the spell is the target of your Hexblade's Curse. And then,
I
but I,
really
I
don't
guess I'm
think
just thinking
they.
in my head, like, okay, I hex a target, and I
Yeah,
make them also my Hexblade Curse target. They die. On my next turn, I use a bonus action to transfer Hex to somebody else, and Hexblade's Curse is no
it's
longer
gone. We've used it.
because my
Yeah,
original target died. So even
yeah.
though I'm still concentrating on the Hex spell, and even though it says the target of the spell is the target of your Hexblade's Curse, I think
The
that
tar
only applies to when you first cast the spell.
yeah. When you cast a spell, you
Yeah.
use a spell slot that curses a target. Yeah, I think they're talking about target singular, not targets of the spell.
I I well, we can get into this later, but the thing that I was really missing was the old level 14 feature that let me transfer Hexblade Curse. Much later at high level, right? And
Hmm.
that was really good and really powerful. And now it seems like there's just no way to do that. You do get more castings of it, so maybe
Yeah.
it's okay.
I mean, on here's the silver lining. The benefits now are meh,
Yeah, that's true. You don't get the extra damage, right?
so you don't really care,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, but like most of the benefits that we get as a Hexblade come from like our Hexblade's cursed target being close to us, doing something to us. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
so if you don't have Hexblade's curse up, it's sort of a similar problem to what they had with the previous UA version, where if you're not using Hex, you don't have a subclass. Now it's if you don't have a Hexblade cursed target, you don't really have a subclass.
yeah.
And it's
Uh,
a little better because you can use it more and you can concentrate on other spells potentially, right? But it's still
well,
kind of the same
but
problem.
Hexblade's curse isn't even the best feature we get at level 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we get two things. We've got a creature. So far, we've discussed that you can curse a target.
Right.
This is what you get if you actually curse it. Hungering Hex. When the target is cursed by your Hexblade, curse drops to 0 hit points. You regain hit points equal to a D8 plus your charisma modifier. This was part of the old Hexblade's curse, and it was the
Mhm.
part we always had to look up because we didn't remember because
Right.
Hexblade curse was all about doing extra damage.
Yes.
And a cursed shield. While you aren't wearing armor or using a shield, you get a +2 bonus to armor class while you're within 10 feet of the target. Cursed by your Hexblade curse. Presumably, you're going to combine this with Armor of Shadows to get mage armor. So you have a +5 to armor class some
Yep.
of the time when you're next to a Hexblade,
Yeah, if you've got a
which still isn't that
14, if
great.
you've got a 14 dex, you're at 17 AC. Yeah, I mean they very
I'm still dipping.
notably
I'm
they
still dipping
very
for armor.
yeah, they very notably didn't didn't give Hexblades medium armor and shield proficiency, just like in the last UA, right? And they've kind of tried to say, well,
Yeah.
here's a little bonus. But again, like I just said, right? As long as you're within 10 feet of the target cursed by your Hexblade Turk. What if you, if your Hexblade cursed target dies and you stay near their corpse? Do you still get the benefit, or does Hexblade's curse just end when they die? I don't think it says that it ends when they die.
Uh, um,
Uh,
I don't know.
anyways,
I'd have to read it again. I don't care because
yeah, yeah.
this is kind of a nothing feature.
And
Level
and I
3 is
was
all about unyielding will now.
yeah.
Hexblade. You see, this is your mistake, Colby. Is you think Hexblade and you think Hexblade's curse is what it's about. It's not. It's about unyielding will now. That's what
Yes.
it's about. This is our best feature.
Hmm.
When you succeed on a saving throw to maintain concentration, each creature of your choice in a 10-foot emanation originating from you takes 2d6 necrotic damage. Once you do that, use this benefit, you can't do so again until the start of your next turn. In addition, when you fail a saving throw to maintain concentration, you can choose to succeed instead, and you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to D10 plus your warlock level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. This is good,
Yeah, it's
right?
again, it's legendary resistance once per day, just for your concentration, right?
Just for your concentration. To me, the main part of this isn't even that.
It's
The
the
main part is
walking explosions.
the guy comes up to you and he hits you, and then you go kaboom,
Yeah.
and then
Here's
and then
every turn, right?
and then next turn kaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's what's funny and ironic, I think. And you've already kind of mentioned it, but as I was reading this, my thought was Hexblade used to be like you'd take a one level Hexblade dip, right, on a million different builds.
now you want a
Now
one level dip on your hexblade.
Hexblades want a one
Yeah,
level dip all the time,
yeah.
and it's like karma's a bitch, Hexblade. Like, you know, it's like because you want fighter, right? You want armor and shield proficiency. You want Constitution saving throw proficiency, so that
You definitely want that.
you
Yeah,
can get
yeah.
this explosion to go off.
You
You take
need
you take Eldritch Mind as your as one of your
yeah.
Eldritch invocations, and you're always succeeding on con saves, and you're
Yeah.
just walking around going boom, 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 boom everywhere you
And,
go.
and of course, you're going to armor of Vagathis. on
Yeah.
top of this,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. And return
And
damage for sure.
this is good. I like it, and I
Yeah.
like it. It's not. It's different.
It's fun, it's unique.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead of just fixing Hexblade's Curse, they've come up with a new feature that has nothing to do with Hexblade's Curse, but it's pretty cool. I
It's
like it.
cool. It doesn't scale.
And it is the kind of feature where I'm thinking I want to play Pact of the Blade and get in
Sure.
there.
Sure.
Yeah. But you're
I
right, it
wish
doesn't
I,
scale.
I
It
wish
doesn't
I wish
scale.
it would scale. Maybe let it, do 2d6 plus your warlock level or
Yeah.
something. Um,
But it's not a reaction.
yeah, it doesn't cost you anything, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt your
it's just
friends.
there.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be making concentration saves and hopefully making them.
Yeah, and you're
And
gonna, like
now
you say, it encourages you to get into melee and mix it up, but you want
and
armor
it
proficiency if you're
encourages
gonna
you
do
to
that.
it encourages you to make a concentration saves.
Yeah.
And when you do, you get this little reward.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
All right, level 6, Malign Brutality. Your patron might furthers your bloodthirst, granting you the following benefits. Harrowing Hex. After you cast a 1 plus level spell that has a casting time of an action, you can make one attack with a weapon as a bonus action. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hindering Curse. When you hit the target, cursed by your Hexblade's curse with an attack roll, the target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn. That's good, though I noticed that Harrowing Hex and Hindering Curse don't work together, right? I assume that's deliberate
Yeah,
uh,
because it's
because you're
attack
you're getting
roll.
you're getting the attack after the spell,
Right,
and
right,
then
right, right.
and so you won't have disadvantage on the spell
Yeah.
that you got through Harrowing Hex. So I assume that's
Before the
intentional, and that's
start of your
fine.
next turn. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's inescapable hex. When the target of your hexblade curse ends its turn 30 feet or further from you, you can move up to your speed straight towards the target. No reaction on that.
And really just encouraging a melee play style here, right? It's
Yes.
hard to imagine being like an Eldritch Blast focused or a ranged weapon user and being like, I want to use 30 feet, I want to move 30 feet closer to you, other than the fact that if I do, I get a +2 to my AC.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of saying you're a melee character.
You're a melee character. Yeah. Yeah, and they didn't really do that with the old hexblade,
Yeah,
right? They didn't really push you into melee.
right.
You got to use your charisma bonus,
Hmm.
but I mean, it still wasn't necessarily better than using Eldritch Blast, right?
Sure. Or, you could make your hex weapon like a hand crossbow if it were a magic hand crossbow, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
And so you could be
Um,
a ranged.
These are good. These are decent. Harrowing
Yeah,
Hex is pretty good.
yeah,
Hindering Curse is pretty good. Inescapable Hex is okay.
yeah.
Put them together. That's a solid level
Solid.
6.
Yeah.
All right. Level 10, Armor of Hexes. When you take damage from the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage taken by amount equal to your Warlock level.
I mean, it's not necessarily amazing, right? The thing that I kind of thought is, well, I mean, we are a warlock. We do have limited spell slots, right? Unless we took a dip, like you said. And actually, now that I think about it, maybe sorcerer is a better dip than fighter.
Yeah, I was
Well,
thinking the exact same thing
because you
when you
get you
said
still
it,
get the
but I
con
didn't.
save
Yeah.
proficiency. But the problem is I want 3 levels to get draconic maybe to give me a better armor class. I don't know. Anyways, and quicken spell so I can hindering curse, make an attack, and now quicken a spell with my bonus action, and they're gonna have disadvantage on it, right? Anyways, uh, but if you don't have tons of spell slots for the shield spell, right? Then hey, this is at least a way to reduce damage.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's
Well, and the thing is shield isn't always the better option.
sure because sometimes you get crit or
Yeah,
they roll
yeah.
higher than 5,
Or they
right?
roll higher. So
Yeah,
sometimes shield doesn't work, and so you
yeah.
have another option, and it doesn't use a resource.
But it is only for your Hexblade Curse target. And
Yes.
again, like getting back to my point that I made back at level 3, right? It's like that frustrates me because it's like, what if you don't have any uses of Hexblade Curse, or you get hit by somebody else, or any other number of things? It's just kind of
Yeah.
like,
I think with charisma uses, I don't think you're going to run out all that often.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. You
But
eventually even you get them back.
it
I think
is
it's
going to cost
next time.
you a bonus action to reapply it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you if you're concentrating on Hex or Bestow Curse, right, and you've got it up, but then that original target dies, well, now I need a bonus action to transfer Hex, and I need a bonus action to get Hexblade's Curse going again. Like it just feels clunky to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be smoother, but this doesn't feel clunky to me at all. Armor of Hexes feels the antithesis of clunky because I talked about this in a one of our previous videos where I like features that avoid the additional rolling of dice.
Sure.
And here we don't even have the tracking of resources. There you can just use this on your turn. You don't have to roll. You don't have to worry about ticking off a use of it. It just
It
it's
just
just
works.
there for you whenever. I
As
like
long as
features
it's the
like this.
Hexblade Curse target that's hitting you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, uh, I like that kind of feature where
Yeah.
they because they could because here's the thing, they had this feature in the last Unearthed Arcana, except it was usable limited times, and you rolled 2d8 plus your Warlock level.
Mm.
And I just thought, oh, they got rid of the tracking and they got rid of
The roll.
the rolling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, why not just get rid of those? That's just better. So I was pretty happy with this actually. Though, yeah, yeah, there's competition with Shield. If Shield works, use Shield if you got the slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's competition with Shield, and a lot of times you just won't,
Though
it
let's
won't do
face
anything
it,
for you.
you probably have two first level spell slots
Probably.
because you probably dipped.
Yeah.
And so you got two first level spell slots and they'll be out in no time.
Yeah.
And then you got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you got crit, and
Because
so Shield
because
isn't going to do anything for you.
you got uh five hexblade curses. You only have two shields. All
Yeah.
right, level 14, Masterful Hex. The power of your hexblade's curse increases, granting the following benefits. Any attack roll you make against the target cursed by your hexblade curse scores a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 on the D20. Hurrah! We get a damage boost.
Yeah, the thing that we used to get at level 3,
Yeah,
we get at 14 now.
but we get it eventually.
And to be fair, Hexblade's Curse was, you know,
It was too
arguably
good. It
overpowered.
was
Yeah.
too good. Yeah. No, I'm
So
I'm okay with them moving it.
splitting it up.
Yep. Explosive hex. When you deal, so we're things are exploding all over the place. We're exploding. They're exploding. When you deal damage to the target cursed by your hexblade curse, you can cause your curse to explode with sinister energy. The target and each creature of your choice within a 30-foot emanation originating from the target takes 3d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage of your choice. And their speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you expend a packed magic slot to restore your use of it. This is not worth a packed magic slot,
No, you've
in
got
my opinion.
fifth level spell slots at this
Gonna
point.
give it to me once for free. That's fine. And Hex Restoration, you regain one expended use of Hexblade's Curse when you finish a short rest or use your magical cunning feature. So you will have more than five uses.
Yeah. I think for me,
I think it's decent.
it's yeah, it's in a decent place, much better than the last Unearthed Arcana. I think the only thing, my only concern, as I've kind of been expressing, my biggest concern, I should say, as I've sort of been expressing throughout, right, is taking away the ability to transfer your Hexblade Curse makes it difficult to have all of these features that only work against a Hexblade Curse target or when your Hexblade Curse target is close to you or blah, 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 blah. Now, if you could either now, like Hexblade Curse doesn't do extra damage anymore, right? Most of
No,
the benefits from it aren't amazing.
no.
And so I don't know that it would be overly powerful to let me transfer it, maybe not at level 3, but maybe earlier, whether it's with Hex or some other way, or let me just apply my Hexblade Curse when I make an attack, right? Similar to, I don't know, like your Devotion Pally and your Vengeance Pally, right?
Mhm.
Vengeance Pallies now, they get their advantage on all of attacks for 1 minute just when they want to. And
Yeah.
it's something that's transferable. It doesn't require a bonus action, right? So that might be the easiest solution there. We do have 5+ uses of it once we've got our charisma up, right? And just say, okay, when your Hexblade Curse target dies, you can, well, not even that, just you can cast it not with a bonus action, but just when you make an attack or as part of casting a spell XYZ, right? I think that
Yeah.
would be a little more that would just make it feel a lot smoother, right? And then I don't have to worry about, well, gosh, my fighter ally killed my Hexblade Curse target. It wasn't even my turn, right? And now some other guy, and now I lost my armor benefit. Now I lost my ability to do this. Now I can't reduce any damage from anybody. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, let it make it a little easier to get that going again.
Yeah,
And then I think it's in a
I
good
get your
place.
point on clunkiness. I will say if I was going to play a Pact of the Blade Warlock and take a melee weapon and was planning to do down and dirty, would consider this? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Even just for unyielding will.
I'd consider it.
Yeah.
But of course, it's very specialized.
Yeah.
Definitely not as appealing as the old Hexblade,
No.
but
But that was too good.
I think it's okay,
Yeah.
and okay is not a bad place to be.
Sure.
Okay, and that is the Hexblade. We are getting into the wizards. So I think we're doing the
Wizards.
first two on your channel, right?
Yep.
All right.
Check back
So come
tomorrow.
back tomorrow to Colby's channel. Check out. We're going to cover the Conjurer Wizard and what the
Enchanter.
Enchanter Wizard. That's a controversial one. So people want to
Yes.
know what we think about that. All right. So
Okay.
thanks very much for your time, Colby.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching. Talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.